Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are unpacking a really detailed set of sources outlining what one company is calling its 90-day AI business transformation.
Yeah, and the system itself is named Aiva.
Aiva.
Hi.
And its core promise is pretty big. It's about replacing entire administrative functions using something they call agentic voice AI.
Right, and that's key. This isn't just another chatbot or one of those, frustrating IVR menus.
Right.
The claim is that this AI acts, and more importantly, communicates like a fully trained, goal-oriented member of your team.
So that's really our mission for you today. We want to help you understand not just what this system does, but how it's strategically engineered. It's all broken down across three very distinct phases.
Exactly, and we're going to analyze how it tries to automate the three, really the fundamental lifelines of any service business.
Sure.
Calls in, so capturing every single inbound opportunity.
Yeah.
Then you have calls out, which is all that vital work of follow-ups and lead reactivation.
And the last one, which I think people forget.
Customer care.
Yeah.
That's what ensures trust and retention in the long run.
Okay, so let's unpack that core concept right away. Agentic design. We hear the term AI thrown around all the time, but what makes this specific system agentic?
Well, the sources define each of its protocols as a distinct AI agent. And each one has a clear goal, its own memory, its own writing logic, and, this is crucial, accountability.
So it's not just following a script.
Not at all. It's constantly using these complex patterns like reflection, planning, and even human-in-the-loop feedback to improve its own performance over time.
Can you give us an analogy for that?
Yeah, sure. Think of standard automation like using Google Maps. You just follow a fixed, pre-calculated route. Agentic AI, on the other hand, is like hiring a really seasoned Uber driver.
Okay.
That driver can plan the best route, but they also dynamically reflect on traffic conditions right now, and they'll reroute based on the real-time goal of getting you there efficiently. It reasons and learns.
I like that. That makes sense. It shifts from just following instructions to actively solving a problem. And that problem solving is organized into this very clear three-stage journey. So let's start with phase one. The sources call it, a bit dramatically, stop the bleeding. This covers days 1 through 30.
And the goal here is super simple. Instant ROI. You do that by capturing every new lead you get and then immediately reactivating all those old forgotten leads in your database.
And they actually guarantee recovering lost calls within the first week.
Yeah, it's all about damage control and quick wins.
Yeah.
And it's achieved through two main protocols. The first one is the Aiva receptionist protocol.
Your 24/7 front desk.
Exactly. But its function isn't just to pick up the phone. It answers every single inbound call. It routes it to the right person, and it delivers these stylized summaries to your CRM or your inbox.
And it has urgency scoring. What's that?
That's maybe the most important part. The AI uses that reflection pattern to figure out, is this just a general question or is this a 911 service request? It gauges the urgency.
So it's not just passing on a message. It's acting as a filter and a priority marker. But, how reliable can these voice systems be? With different accents, background noise, people talking fast.
Right.
The source says no missed calls, no lost leads. That sounds like a huge claim to hang their initial success on.
It's a massive claim.
Okay.
And the source implies that the initial training and those reflection patterns are robust enough to handle all that variability. The success of this whole first phase really hinges on the quality of that summary and that score.
If the humans trust it, it works.
Exactly. If the staff trust the AI's urgency score, the system is a success. If they start getting bad routing, the whole workflow it breaks down.
And what about all those dusty leads?
Yeah.
The ones just sitting in the CRM? The so-called hidden revenue?
That's handled by the second part, the Aiva reactivation protocol. This is the outbound AI, and it's dedicated to mining that old database. It uses personalized voice calls and texts to re-engage all those cold leads. And this is where that goal setting and monitoring logic really kicks in. It optimizes the outreach cadence. It learns when to call, how often to call.
And the results aren't just vague, like followed up. They deliver structured outcomes.
Precisely. The lead is tagged as either warm, hot, or closed. So you get immediate, measurable insight into what used to be just a black hole of admin work.
And that measurable recovery is the key to their initial guarantee. They literally state that if your phone still rings unanswered or old leads stay cold after 30 days, you don't pay.
Which ties directly into that phase one offer. It's a $1,000 setup fee, $100 a month, plus a pretty aggressive 50% rev share on the leads it recovers.
Whoa, wait. 50% revenue share?
50%.
That's huge. I mean, it makes you wonder about the long-term margin for the business, but it also shows incredible confidence from the AI provider, doesn't it?
It does. They're taking on a ton of risk. They're basically betting their system will find substantial immediate revenue for you. If they don't find the money, they don't really get paid.
It's a compelling financial alignment. They're saying, we only make money if we prove our worth right now.
It forces them to guarantee performance from day one.
Okay, let's pivot. So we've stopped the bleeding. Now it gets more strategic. Phase 2, multiply sales, which is days 31 to 60.
Yep. And here, the focus shifts completely from recovery to optimizing your conversions.
So this is pure efficiency.
Pure efficiency. The goal is to boost conversion rates by qualifying leads smarter and following up with, superhuman speed and persistence.
And there are 2 protocols for this. First up, the Aiva qualification protocol. So if I'm a sales rep, I probably waste half my day talking to people who are just browsing. How does this AI solve that?
It solves it by acting as this incredibly focused pre-qualifier. It performs detailed discovery questions, either coming in or going out. It tags the lead's true intent, and then it routes only the real ready-to-buy customers to the human staff.
And the source mentioned a critical technical detail here. It uses multi-agent and reflection patterns to train itself.
Yeah, that's right.
Wait, multi-agent? Does that mean different AIs are talking to each other?
In essence, yeah. It means the system is drawing on feedback from multiple parts of the process, the receptionist's notes, what happened in the qualification attempt, the successful sales calls, to adapt its tone, its questions, even its confidence level.
So it learns the specific nuances of what makes a good lead for that specific business.
Exactly. So your human reps are only talking to highly vetted leads. It just eliminates a vast amount of wasted time. It cuts through all that noise.
But efficiency also means persistence.
It does. And that brings us to the Aiva follow-up protocol, the persistent, friendly AI. We all know statistically that most sales are lost because humans they get distracted, they forget to follow up.
It sounds incredible, but also potentially really annoying. Is there a point where the AI knows to back off, or does it risk just becoming a digital telemarketer from hell?
That's the balance it supposedly masters through what they call planning and recovery flows. So if it detects a voicemail, for example, it immediately reschedules based on an optimal pattern it's calculated. It keeps calling, but ideally with increasingly refined, personalized messages.
So it's not just mindless dialing.
No, it's tracking the customer sentiment, it's tracking success data, and it uses that to refine its own persistence threshold. It's designed to be relentless, but also, personalized.
So when you combine these 2 things in phase 2, the sources are claiming up to 40% more conversions. Just because the AI is doing all that low-value grunt work of chasing people, that's a staggering gain if it's true.
It connects right back to the value proposition.
Yeah.
Maximize the output of your expensive human sales team by only feeding them guaranteed opportunities.
All right, now for the final leg of the journey, phase 3, build long-term trust, days 61 through 90. This is the part that so many businesses ignore, automating reputation, retention, and relationship building.
This is absolutely where the long-term customer value gets locked in. And the first protocol here is the Aiva reputation protocol. It's a post-service AI that proactively contacts the customer, gathers feedback, and then automatically posts the positive reviews online.
Okay, but the really critical detail here is its sentiment awareness. What does it do with negative feedback? Because that's what everyone worries about.
It's designed to escalate negative feedback privately before it ever hits a public channel like Google or Yelp.
Oh.
This is where its knowledge retrieval and reflection patterns are vital. It identifies the customer's tone, determines how serious the complaint is, and immediately triggers an internal alert for a human manager to step in.
And at the same time, it thanks the customer for the private feedback.
Right. It keeps the whole thing internal.
That is a huge competitive advantage, especially in industries like home services or healthcare, where your reputation is everything. Preventing one bad review is worth thousands of dollars.
And their stated outcome is literally 5-star reviews on autopilot.
So phase 3 finishes by solidifying that customer relationship with the Aiva onboarding and account manager protocol.
Yeah, this AI welcomes new customers and does regular, non-sales check-ins with existing ones.
And the fascinating part here is its reliance on what the source calls memory management. Can you give me a concrete example of what that actually looks like?
Absolutely. So let's say the AI learns during the initial sales call that the customer mentioned they were getting solar panels installed so they could finally afford to get a dog.
Okay.
The AI remembers that detail. When it calls 6 weeks later for a check-in, It might personalize the conversation by saying something like, just checking in to make sure everything is running smoothly with your service. And hey, how's that new puppy doing?
That's incredible. It makes the customer feel known, not just processed.
Precisely. It integrates with your CRM milestones. It sends a nudge before maintenance is due. It checks in after an installation. The ultimate outcome of Phase 3 is that every customer feels remembered and valued. It moves the business from just transactions to true retention.
Which brings us to our final section, the synthesis, the whole system, the business impact. We've just covered 6 distinct AI agents.
We have. And when you connect the 3 phases, stop the bleeding, multiply sales, and build trust back to that initial vision, Aiva is really trying to automate all 3 of those business lifelines. It's not just a box of tools, it's a sequenced strategy.
And it's powered by what they call agentic adaptability.
Right. Each agent evolves. It uses those planning and reflection patterns to get smarter over that 90-day period and, hopefully beyond.
So for a business owner listening, what does this actually mean? The immediate impact is what they call scalable efficiency. The system claims it can replace 3 to 5 admin or entry-level sales roles for less than 10% of the cost.
And the sources really emphasize its universal fit. It's designed for any service-based business. They call it solar, real estate, home services, health, and wellness. For a realtor, the AI is pre-qualifying sellers. For a solar company, it's handling that complex follow-up after a quote.
Okay, but if the system is so robust, it replaces multiple people, it guarantees ROI, why is the pricing for the full 90-day system listed at only $497 a month? That seems incredibly low.
It does. And that price point suggests 2 things to me. First, they're going for aggressive market share. They're hoping that rev share in Phase 1 provides the initial capital.
And second,
they're targeting small to medium-sized businesses. For them, replacing a single, say, $40,000 a year admin role with a $500 a month system is a massive immediate win.
and they have the enterprise option.
Right, for bigger companies. That's where they layer in the accountability dashboard and AI call reporting, because larger clients need that oversight and data.
It really is a complete roadmap. You patch the leaks, you maximize conversions, and then you solidify long-term trust. It's a cohesive end-to-end vision for an AI-powered business.
What's so fascinating to me is how the system tries to integrate that high-level strategy, the 90-day plan, with such granular AI capabilities. The ability to use memory management to remember a customer's pet, or to escalate negative feedback privately. That's a sophisticated blend of tech and really practical business psychology.
It's not just about automation.
No, it's about automating the parts of relationship management that usually rely on what we'd call emotional labor.
And that leads us to our closing question for you, the listener. If this 90-day transformation is truly available, what administrative function in your business lead capture, qualification, or reputation management would you target first for agentic automation? The decision of how businesses prioritize grabbing new leads versus keeping old customers happy when they implement this kind of tech, that's fundamentally going to define the next decade of success. Which lifeline do you save first?